Why did Mughal emperor agree to support the rebels? The Mughal emperor was against the policies of the British and wanted to rebel against them. In the mutiny, he got this chance. Also, the Mughal emperor wanted to be an independent ruler of the entire country. Write a paragraph on the assessment he may have made before accepting the offer of the Sepoy. People were being treated in cruel and unfair ways, so he would have got support wholeheartedly. The Mughal emperor made strong army to establish his authority and fight the British. What could be the reasons for the confidence of the British rulers about their position in India before May 1857? The reasons are: since the mid 18th century, Nawabs and Rajas had gradually lost their authority and honor. Residents had been stationed in many courts. The freedom of rulers reduced, their armed forces disbanded, and their revenues and territories taken away by stages. The company decided to end the Mughal dynasty in 1849. Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort. In 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal emperor, and after his death, his descendants would be recognized as princes. What impact did Bahadur Shah Zafar's support to the rebellion have on the people and the ruling families? Bahadur Shah Zafar's support to the rebellion boosted the morale of the people and the ruling families. They became united to fight the British authority with double spirit. People of the towns and villages rose up to rebellion and rallied around local leaders, zamindars, and chiefs. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of late Peshwa Baji Rao, who lived near Kanpur, gathered armed forces and expelled the British from the city. He proclaimed himself Peshwa. He declared that he was a governor under Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. In Lucknow, Birjis Kader, the son of deposed Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, was proclaimed the new Nawab. He too acknowledged that he was Peshwa of the Bahadur Shah Zafar. In Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai joined the rebel Sepoy and fought the British along with Tatya Tope and General of Nana Sahib. How did the British succeed in securing the submission of rebel landowners of the Awadh? The British succeeded in securing the submission of the rebel landowners of Awadh by providing them inheritance rights, that is, they would enjoy the traditional rights over their land. The British also exempted them from taxes. On what ways did the British change their policies as a result of the rebellion of 1857? As a result of the rebellion of 1857, the British changed their policies. Following are the important changes that the British made. The powers of the East India Company was transferred to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. The Governor General of India was given the title of Viceroy, that is, a personal representative of the Crown. All ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. They were allowed to pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including adopted son, but they had to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. It was decided that the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army would be reduced and the number of European soldiers would be increased. It was also decided that instead of recruiting soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, Central India, and South India, more soldiers would be recruited from among the Gorkhas, Sikhs, and Pathans. The British decided to respect the customary religions and social practices of the people of India. The new law passed in 1850 made conversion to Christianity easier. The revolt of 1857 began from Meerut. Mangal Pandey, a young soldier, was hanged to death for attacking his officers in Barakpur. The Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar died in Rangoon jail. The British regained control of the country in the year 1859. Fill in the blanks. In the countryside, peasants and zamindars presented high taxes and the rigid methods of revenue collection. In the countryside, peasants and zamindars resented the high taxes and the rigid methods of revenue collection. The British passed laws to stop the practice of sati and to encourage the remarriage of widows. The rebels rushed to Delhi from Meerut and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of Peshwa Baji Rao, gathered armed forces and expelled the British garrison from the city. Tatia Tope fought a guerrilla war against the British with support of several tribal and peasant leaders. Match the following: Bridges Qadar, Lucknow; Rani Lakshmibai, Jhansi; Kunwar Singh, Bihar; Bakht Khan, Bareilly; Ahmadullah Shah, Faizabad. Name the Governor General under whom the revolt of 1857 broke out. Lord Canning was the Governor General under whom the revolt of 1857 broke out. What was the first step taken by the company towards ending the Mughal dynasty? The name of the Mughal king was removed from the coins minted by the company. What rumor spread among the sepoys of the Meerut regiment about the new cartridges? The rumor spread that the new cartridges were coated with the fat of cows and pigs. What did the aging Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar do after he was declared the leader of the rebels? Bahadur Shah Zafar wrote letters to all the chiefs and rulers of the country to come forward and organize a confederacy of Indian states to fight the British. Name any two smaller rulers who acknowledged the suzerainty of Bahadur Shah Zafar. Nana Sahib and Bridges Qadr. When and where did Bahadur Shah Zafar die? Bahadur Shah Zafar died in the Rangoon jail in 1862. Name the capital of Rangoon. Burma, which is now called as Myanmar, has capital Rangoon. The capital of Rangoon is Burma, which is now called as Myanmar. Who was Begum Hazrat Mahal? She was the queen of Wajid Ali Khan and the one who acted as the regret of her son Bridges Qadar. Who was Tatya Tope? Tatya Tope was the general of Nana Sahib. Who was Ahmadullah Shah? What was his prophecy? Ahmadullah Shah was a Maulvi from Faizabad. His prophecy was that the rule of the British would soon come to an end. Who was Bakht Khan? Bakht Khan was a soldier from Bareilly. He took charge of a large force of fighters who came to Delhi. Where did the British recapture Delhi? The British recaptured Delhi in September 1857. Why were the powers of the East India Company transferred to the British Crown? The powers of the East India Company were transferred to the British Crown in order to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. Under what condition the ruling chiefs could pass on their kingdoms to their heirs? The ruling chiefs could pass their kingdom to their heirs. They could do so only when they were ready to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. Why did British treat Muslims with suspicion and hostility? The British believed that Muslims were responsible for the rebellion in a big way. Under what pretext did company take over Awadh? In 1801, a subsidiary alliance was imposed on Awadh, and in 1856 it was taken over. Governor General Dalhousie declared that the territory was being misgoverned and British rule was needed to ensure proper administration. How did the company plan to bring an end to Mughal dynasty? First of all, the name of Mughal kings were removed from the coins minted by the company. In 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of Red Fort and given another place in Delhi to live. In 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king, and after his death, his descendants would be known as princes. What reforms did the British introduce in the Indian society? How did the people of India respond to them? The British introduced several reforms. They passed laws to stop the practice of sati and encouraged the remarriage of widows. They promoted English language education. In 1850, the company passed a new law that made the conversion to Christianity more easier. Many Indians began to feel that the British were destroying their religion, their social customs, and their traditional way of life. But at the same time, there were other Indians who readily accepted the reforms introduced by the British. In fact, they wanted to change existing social practices. Why did chiefs and rulers support the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar in revolt? The Mughal dynasty had ruled over a large part of the country. Most smaller rulers and chieftains controlled different territories on behalf of the Mughal ruler. Threatened by the expansion of British rule, many of them felt that if the Mughal emperor could rule again, they too would be able to rule their own territories once more under the Mughal authority. Who was Mangal Pandey? Why was he hanged? Mangal Pandey was a young Indian sepoy of the British Army. Under his leadership, the Indian sepoys had refused to use the greased cartridges. He was hanged to death on 29th March 1857 for attacking his officers at Barakpur. How did the British try to win back the loyalty of the people after they recaptured Delhi? The British announced rewards for loyal landlords by allowing them to continue to enjoy traditional rights over their lands. Those who had rebelled were told that if they submitted to the British and if they had not killed any white people, they would remain safe and their rights and claims to land would not be denied. Why were the Indian sepoys in the employ of the company discontented? Reasons for the discontentment. The Indian sepoys were given poor salaries and allowances. The conditions of service also made them unhappy. Some of the new rulers even violated their religious sentiments and beliefs. The higher posts were reserved for the British Army. The company accepted that bridges were coated with fat of cows and pigs. They could hope hardly to rise in hierarchy. Those were the days when many people in the country believed that if they crossed the sea, they would lose their religion and caste. So, when in 1824 the sepoys were told to go to Burma by the sea route to fight for the company, they refused to follow this order. As a result, they were given severe punishment. In 1856, the company passed a new law which stated that every new person who took up employment in the company's army had to agree to serve overseas if required. How did the revolt of 1857 begin? The revolt of 1857 was an eventful year in the history of India. In this year began a revolt which called the Sepoy Mutiny. It took place when Indian soldiers in Meerut participated in the uprising wholeheartedly. On 10th May 1857, they marched to jail in Meerut and released the sepoys who were sentenced to 10 years jail for disobeying their officers. They attacked and killed British officers. They captured guns and ammunition and set fire to the buildings and properties of the British and declared war. The soldiers were determined to bring an end to British rule in the country. The sepoys of Meerut rushed to Delhi in the early hours of 11th May. As news of their arrival spread, the regiments stationed in Delhi also rose up in rebellion. Again, British officers were killed, arms and ammunition were seized, buildings were set on fire. Triumphant soldiers gathered around the walls of the Red Fort where the Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar lived, demanding to meet him. The emperor was not willing to challenge the mighty British power, but the soldiers persisted. They forced their way into palace and proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader. The emperor finally accepted this demand, and under his leadership the revolt of 1857 began. How did the rebellion spread to other regions of the country? The position of British became very weak in Delhi and they were almost defeated by the rebel force. Therefore, there was no uprising for almost a week. Afterwards, a spurt of mutinies began in several parts of India. Regiment after regiment mutinied and took to join other troops at nodal points like Delhi, Kanpur, and Lucknow. After them, the people of the towns and villages also rose up in rebellion. They rallied around local leaders, zamindars, and chiefs who were prepared to establish their authority and fight the British. Nana Sahib, the adopted son of the late Peshwa Bajirao, who lived near Kanpur, gathered armed forces and expelled the British garrison from the city. He proclaimed himself Peshwa. He declared that he was a governor under Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar in Lucknow. British Qadar, a son of the deposed Nawab Wajid Ali Shah, was proclaimed the new Nawab. He too acknowledged the suzerainty of Bahadur Shah Zafar. In Jhansi, Rani Lakshmi Bai joined the rebel sepoys and fought the British along with Tatya Tope, the general of Nana Sahib. In Orissa, Veer Surendra Sai started the resistance movement against the colonial rule. A situation of widespread rebellion also developed in the region of Awadh. Many new leaders also came up and joined the revolt. Ahmadullah Shah, a Maulvi from Faizabad, raised a large force of supporters. He came to Lucknow to fight the British. In Delhi, a large number of religious warriors came together to wipe out the white people. Bakht Khan, a soldier from Bareilly, took charge of a large force of fighters who came to Delhi. In Bihar, an old zamindar, Kunwar Singh, joined the rebel sepoys and battled with British for several months. Kittur Chennamma was the Rani of Kittur, formerly a state in Karnataka. She also led a rebellion against the British. How did the company suppress the revolt? The company did not get nervous to see the strength of the rebel forces. Instead, it decided to suppress the revolt with all its might. It brought reinforcements from England, passed new laws so that the rebels could be convinced with ease, and then moved into the storm centers of the revolt. Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces in September 1857. The last Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar was tried in court and sentenced to life imprisonment. He and his wife were sent to prison in Rangoon in October 1858. The recapture of Delhi did not mean that the rebellion died down completely. People continued to resist and battle the British. So the British had to fight for 2 years to suppress the massive forces of popular rebellion. The British took Lucknow in 1858. Rani Lakshmibai was defeated and killed in June 1858. Tatya Tope, who fought a guerrilla war, was finally captured, tried, and killed in April 1859. Discuss the reasons for the failure of the revolt of 1857. There are many reasons that were responsible for the failure of the revolt of 1857. The revolt did not involve all sections of the Indian society. Many, like Scindia, Holkar, Nizam, and other rulers and big zamindars, refused to join the rebellion. Gorkhas and Rajputs remained loyal to the British. In areas of Punjab, the people were happy with the British rule and did not take part in it. Modern educated Indians did not join the revolt. They felt only the British could take India forward. Different groups joining the rebellion had lot of weaknesses. For example, lack of centralized leadership, organization, excellent system of communication, resources, modern weapons, and techniques of war. Most of the rebels fought with weapons like swords and pikes, while the British had superior weapons and techniques and fine leadership. The Indian soldiers suffered from insufficient finances, while the British had immense wealth and excellent system of communication. Due to lack of common action of plan and unity, the revolt started before the fixed date, 31st May 1857. As a result, entire plan was disorganized. What do you know about the Khurda uprising or the Paika rebellion of Odisha? Khurda, a small kingdom built up in the late 16th century in the southeastern part of Odisha, it was a populous and well cultivated territory. After taking over Khurdra, the British followed a policy of resuming service tenures. It bitterly affected the lives of ex militia of the state, the Pikes. The severity of the measure was compounded on account of an unreasonable increase in the demand of revenue and also the oppressive ways of the collection. Consequently, there was large scale desertion of people from Khurda between 1805 and 1817. Yet, the British went for a series of short term settlements, each time increasing the demands, not recognizing either the productive capacity of the land or the paying capacity of the ryots. At this juncture, the hereditary military commander Jagbandhu Bidaidhar led the army of Pikes, forcing the British to retreat. It came to be known as Pike Rebellion. The Paikas rose in rebellion, protecting rights over the Jagannath temple. The rebellion spread quickly across most of the state before ruthlessly put down by British army. On their part, the British henceforth adopted a policy of leniency, indulgence, and forbearance towards the people of Khurda. Of the price of salt was reduced and necessary reforms were made in the law. Revenue officials found to be corrupt were dismissed from service and former landholders were restored to their lands. The son of the king of Khurda, Ramchandra Dev III, was allowed to take charge of the affairs of the Jagannath temple at Puri with a grant of rupees 24,000. Read the passage and answer the questions that follow. The list of 84 rules. Given here are excerpts from the book Maja Pravas written by Vishnu Bhatt Godse, a Brahman from a village in Maharashtra. He and his uncle had set out to attend a yajna being organized in Mathura. Vishnu Bhatt writes that they met some sepoys on the way who told them that they should not proceed on the journey because a massive upheaval was going to break out in 3 days. The sepoys said the English were determined to wipe out the religions of the Hindus and Muslims. They had made a list of 84 rules and announced these in a gathering of all big kings and princes in Calcutta. They said that the kings refused to accept these rules and warned the English of dire consequences and massive upheaval if they are implemented. That the kings all returned to their capitals in great anger. All the big people began making plans. A date was fixed for the war of rebellion, and the secret plan had been circulated from the cantonment in Meerut by letters sent to different cantonments. Who was Vishnu Bhatt Godse? Where was he going and for what purpose? Vishnu Bhatt Godse was a Brahman for a village in Maharashtra. From a village in Maharashtra, he was going to Mathura to attend a yajna. Whom did he meet on the way? What did they tell him? He met some sepoys on the way. The sepoys told him that he should not proceed on the journey because a massive upheaval was going to break out in 3 days. What further information did they give to Vishnu Bhatt? The sepoys further informed Vishnu Bhatt about the ways the British were destroying the religious religions of Hindus and Muslims and anger that spread due to among the rulers and the common masses. All the big people had fixed a date for the war of religion and that the date would be coming in 3 days. Dates to remember: 1817, the Khurda uprising took place. 1849, Governor General Dalhousie announced that after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, the family of the king would be shifted out of the Red Fort and given another place in Delhi to live in. 1850, a new law was passed to make conversion to Christianity easier. 1856, Governor General Canning decided that Bahadur Shah Zafar would be the last Mughal king and after his death, his descendants would be recognized as princes. The company passed a new law which stated that every new person who took up employment in the company's army had to agree to serve overseas if required. 29th March 1857, Mangal Pandey, a young soldier, was hanged to death for attacking his officers in Barakpur. May 1857, sepoys mutinied in several places. 10th May 1857, sepoys rushed to Delhi from Meerut. September 1857, Delhi was recaptured from the rebel forces. October 1858, Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar along with his wife was sent to prison in Rangoon. 1858, a new act passed by the British Parliament transferred the powers of the East India Company to British Crown. November 1862, Bahadur Shah Zafar died in Rangoon jail.